That's Grayson Hugh in the studio making his new album, Save Your Love for Me. The record was 5 years in the making, but thanks to studio veterans like Pete Kennedy and Tony Garnier, he got the job done, adding some country twang into his blue-eyed soul.
I've been writing some songs that are a little bit more in the country vein.
Right.
And
well, country music is hot here in New Zealand at the moment.
You know, it's sort of like I always have a little bit of difficulty with genres. I just do what I do, you know, but I'm primarily known, I guess you could call soul music.
Right.
But so I wanted to put a little soul in the twang, you know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, and I always, when I was a kid, I always loved bluegrass and the old time country and especially the brothers harmony type, like the Everly Brothers, the Loudon Brothers, and
Atler Brothers.
So yeah. So I mean, with my wife and harmony singer Polly,
right?
She just we always are big about the harmony. Anything I write, I love writing for two voices. A lot of it is, you know, a lot of it is in harmony. And so I got a bunch of, assembled some of the really, I think some of the best musicians around in roots music today to record this record with me. And that's Cindy Cash Dollar on dobro and lap steel, Tony Garnier on acoustic upright bass, Pete Kennedy on guitars, mandolin, and banjo. Gary Olear, who's a great fiddle player.
Yeah, cool.
And then my drummer, Tiger McNeil, and of course, Polly.
That's a great name for a drummer. Just Tiger.
That's
Tiger
right.
McNeil.
And he lays that groove down, brother.
Yeah, I'll bet he does. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And where did you record the thing?
Well, you know, it started right before the pandemic sort of shut everything down in August 2019.
Right.
And then we started doing overdubs. It was Hartford, Connecticut. One of the best pianos that I just love. It's a Yamaha C6. It's a concert grand. And I've used Tapeworks in Hartford, Connecticut this will be the third album now that I've recorded with them, with Bill Ahern and Tommy Scarupa at the engineer on the board, and had a great time. But you know, like I said, it's been 5 years in the making, and I can hardly believe it's finished now, really, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, but some things happen like that, and some things have to take their time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just like Orson Welles said, I will release no album before it's time.
That's right. Well, Orson's one of my heroes, so you can't argue with that. You got to go with what Orson said.
Right.
and song-wise, is there anything that kind of ties the tracks together in your mind that makes this an album?
Yeah, well, the title song, Save Your Love for Me, actually is something I wrote when I first got signed to RCA, and I moved to New York City from Connecticut and to start working on it. And out of the blue, as I was writing songs, I wrote this one song that was sort of like almost like a haunting bluegrass type song, but it had a soul beat, almost like Marvin Gaye's Inner City Blues.
Right.
And I really thought about putting it on the record, but you know, I had so many other songs that were in the real straight ahead soul vein. It just didn't seem to fit. And then I rewrote it about 10 years later as a straight up bluegrass song. And then it just didn't seem to have a home then either. And some time went by, and then finally in 2019, I was talking with Polly and I said, you know, I just have to record this song. In fact, I'm not only going to record this song, I'm going to make a whole record around it.
Right.
And that's how the whole thing started. So that song, Save Your Love for Me, really sort of brought all the others in together.
Take me, happy day. I'll be thinking of you all the way. I'm going
album opens with a tune called "Cleaning the Cobwebs." Why is that at the front of
Right. That was another song that I wrote about sort of, it's about cleaning, kind of a metaphor for your life, cleaning the cobwebs. You're looking down at the pasture on a farm, and it's way at the end of the south pasture. It's turning green, and, a bull charges you, and you try to get out of the way. And it just, you're renewing your life. And it just seemed the perfect song to open the record.
There's a new feeling in the air. It's all around. Standing outside looking down the road. Down by the pasture, the woods are green. Seemed like it all changed overnight. All the bad dreams flew off when winter turned into spring.
Your career has long and varied, ups and downs, all sorts of things. Do you feel like it's kind of led to this point? What are your feelings about how you got here from where you started?
That's a very good question, Marty. I think I always feel that everything led up to this point.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of a Zen attitude, in that, that old Zen proverb, everything is as it should be.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about this record. It was time to do this kind of a style, to get this out, and I really, I wanted to, get this kind of, this side of me, the sort of countryside of Grayson Hugh. I wanted to put it on record. And, in a lot of ways, yes, it led up to here. And it's kind of like, then who knows what the next one is going to be. So, but in a lot of ways, yes, it did. A lot of things made it just the perfect record to record,
Right.
and release at this in 2025.
And do you have any thoughts in general on the music scene and industry in general? Because you've been doing
There's
it
a
for
music scene?
Yeah, the music
really?
industry. Yeah, well, there you go. You answered the question.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Listen, what I do, it's sort of, I get up in the morning and I live and breathe, writing.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And it's really very important to me in the way that breathing is. But I really, I don't want to seem, high and mighty, too aloof and, sitting in my ivory tower. But on the contrary, it's very, very down to earth, and it is sacred to me. And, so the way that I approach music, when you come into contact with people in the music industry, right away, when the bottom line is all they really care about,
right,
you are going to come into contact with some real class A fools. And that's it.
Yeah.
I have a collection of names, let me tell you.
Oh man.
And they, lawyers and agents and managers, I don't need anyone with ideas. As someone, a friend of mine, Pete Anderson, the guitar player, told me once, you just need an agent.
Yeah.
And it's true. Art and commerce quite often do not meet in a friendly way in the middle of the road, and it's difficult to do it. I don't have the in a lot of ways I struggle to get out of the major, record label sort of system, indentured servant system.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I mean, they had a lot. They were large banks, and I was able to go on tour around the world and make expensive, strange videos and, get a lot of publicity. But also they tried to get me to do a lot of totally ridiculous things, which I said no to, so many times. And, really it was just very simple. I just would have to say to them all the time, look, what you see is what you get. I'm just a regular guy. Don't ask me to go to any fancy party. I just do what I do. So I hope that you would respect that. And, occasionally they did, but quite often it was not the case. So, I'm glad to have my own independent label and right now, and to do it like I'm doing it, because I really don't want to be told how to do it.
Gotcha.
After this amount of time, I think I know how to make music. And
Right. Well,
yeah,
the making of the music isn't the hard part these days.
yeah,
Everybody's doing it. It's the
right,
making of the money afterwards.
yeah. That's secondary. I mean, the payoff really is when I hear someone say that my music has affected them,
Right.
got them through a hard time. When a fan writes to me, and I always make a point of answering every email, every letter.
Right.
It's really that is the ultimate payoff because at the end of your life, what else do you have?
Yeah.
Your money doesn't do you any good. Really, how many cars do you need? I mean, it's what relationships have you had? How kind were you? And we're all just people living on this earth, and music is a way that I have found to bring some beauty, and get it out of myself and record it and put it down. So
Yep. Yep.
that's what's important to me. Of course, I need to pay the rent like anyone, and
Yeah.
et cetera, or house payments or car payments. But it's never been about that for me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it can't be.
Speaking of beauty, you recorded one of well, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, Hank Williams. I mean,
Yeah.
tell me about you and Hank.
Did you ever see a robin weep when leaves begin to die? That means he's lost the will to live. I'm so lonesome I could cry.
And it's simple. It's so simple. And yet it's so beautiful. And that is the kind of writing I like in literature and poetry and music. And he's one person that has always done it for me. So I really wanted to do one.
Yeah.
I don't usually do covers, but I wanted to do, especially for this kind of country record, I wanted to do a song by him. So
yeah. And so you were supposed to tour New Zealand like 5 years ago, just as here, right?
Yeah, it just didn't happen because the pandemic happened, and boy, it was very frustrating. And it was right after, in fact, I met with not shortly after, I met with the guys from the Modern Maori Quartet,
right?
And had just a great visit with them. And then I was talking with their manager, our mutual friend Yi Yang, about he was their manager at that time, about doing a tour together. And I was getting really excited about that, and we just got derailed, unfortunately. So at some point, I know I have a lot of fans, especially in the Maori community. For some reason, Talk It Over has resonated with that community, and I really want to any picture I've ever seen of New Zealand has just been the kind of landscape that drives me crazy. It's a lot like Wales, where my people come from,
right?
My grandfather, and just absolutely beautiful. So I know the nature would really inspire me.
My grandfather is from Wales as well.
Oh, really? What part?
I'm not sure. I was born in England myself, actually. So.
Oh, really? Where?
In Aldershot.
Okay. Where is that?
It's outside of London. It's like where my father was in the Navy. He's American, and my mother was British, and it was like a military kind of area that.
So, interesting. Wow.
But I grew
Small
up in the
world.
States. Yeah, but it's funny. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania on a farm.
Yeah. Sure.
So I grew up
coal mining.
Yep. So I grew up with country music all around. Of course, I hated it because that's not what I wanted to hear. And when you're
at that time.
But now it's like, what the heck? It's a beautiful thing, and that's really kind of what's happening here in New Zealand with country music. All the big names are coming through here. We have a lot of artists here who are making it themselves. We have a Canadian gal by the name of Tammy Nielsen, who is based here now, but she just made a record with Willie Nelson. So
I'm going to check her out. That's
she's amazing. That's
great.
She can sing, man.
Excellent. I'm going to check her out. Definitely.
Yeah. We just had our music awards here in New Zealand 2 nights ago, and Tammy was there, and I mean,
Oh,
it's kind of taken over here. So
that's very interesting.
so
Wow.
you may have waited just long enough if you come down here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, see what we can do, you know?
If you enjoyed this episode of the 13th Floor's Music Talk series, please be sure to subscribe to the website or to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram and wherever you find your podcasts. There's a whole lot more to discover.